Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are looking at something that feels, well, completely like science fiction, yet it's powering the devices sitting right in our pockets. Yep, we're talking about artificial intelligence. But here is the core premise I really want to set right out of the gate to cut through all the hype. Artificial intelligence, it isn't magic. There is no ghost in the machine. Beneath the stunning, almost magical capabilities of modern chatbots and those wild image generators, it's just cold, hard math. And understanding the history of how this math developed, well, that's the ultimate key to understanding AI itself.
Our story actually starts with a deceptively simple question posed back in 1950 by the legendary Alan Turing. Can machines think? Now, Turing didn't just pull this out of thin air. He had just spent years helping to crack the seemingly unbreakable Enigma code during World War II. But after the war, his brilliant mind shifted gears. He went from decoding secret messages to decoding intelligence itself. To Turing, intelligence wasn't some mystical property you could just bottle up. It was a series of behavior patterns. It was decisions. And he realized if you could describe those decisions with mathematical logic, you could, theoretically, teach a machine to think.
So, here is our agenda for today. We're going to track the Turing test in 1950, the perceptron of 1958, the AI winter of the 1970s, the backpropagation breakthrough in the 1980s, AlexNet in 2012, and finally, the transformer architecture of 2017. What you're going to see as we move through these milestones is a pretty wild recurring theme. Every single time artificial intelligence hit a wall and seemed totally doomed to fail, a new mathematical breakthrough came along and rescued it.
Section 1, The Genesis and the Wall, covering the 1950s to the 1970s, let's start with the very first era of our timeline, a period of immense optimism that eventually hit a pretty chilling roadblock. Back in 1958, a researcher named Frank Rosenblatt proposed something called the perceptron. This was an early neural network, and honestly, its design was beautifully simple. It was heavily inspired by the biological neurons in the human brain, but it was powered entirely by linear algebra. It just took raw inputs, applied numerical weights to them, summed them all up, and passed that sum through a threshold. If the math added up to a number higher than that threshold, boom, the artificial neuron fired a signal. If not, it just stayed silent. Rosenblatt was actually so confident in this underlying math that he publicly predicted this machine would soon walk, talk, and be completely conscious. And to really understand why linear algebra was chosen as the engine for all this, consider this incredibly famous equation. King minus man plus woman equals queen. Now, how does a computer understand a word like king? It doesn't actually understand meaning, right? It only understands numbers. Linear algebra allows us to turn words into vectors, which are just lists of numbers mapped out in high-dimensional space. Because of this, semantic relationships simply become geometry. If you take the math vector for king, subtract the vector for man, and add the vector for woman, you mathematically arrive right next to the vector for queen. It's incredible. AI's semantic understanding is literally just navigating geometric space. But, as you might guess, that early optimism just didn't last. By the 1970s, developers hit a massive wall. Linear algebra alone simply wasn't enough. It turns out that beautifully simple perceptron completely failed at nonlinear problems. It couldn't even solve the basic XOR problem, which is just a simple logic puzzle involving two binary inputs. It failed because it couldn't mathematically map nonlinear boundaries. And because a single-layer perceptron couldn't model this basic logic, the hype died instantly. Funding literally dropped to zero practically overnight. Interest plummeted, and the industry entered a freezing period that we now know as the AI winter. Section 2, The Revival, Calculus Saves the Day, looking at the 1980s. AI desperately needed a new mathematical tool to break through this ice, a way for neural networks to gain the ability to adapt, learn, and solve those really complex mappings. Think of it this way. If linear algebra is the engine of AI, processing all that raw data into structure, then calculus is the steering wheel. It provides the direction. You see, without calculus, an AI model could process data, sure, but it would be frozen in place, completely unable to improve itself. Calculus unfroze these early neural networks. It gave them a mathematically rigorous way to look at their mistakes and figure out exactly which direction to adjust their internal numbers so they could actually get better. To actually do this, you first need a loss function. You can think of the loss function as the ultimate penalty score. When an AI is first born, it's just guessing totally randomly. The loss function compares the AI's random guess to the correct answer and spits out a single number. This number is literally the cost of being wrong.
So learning an AI simply boils down to a massive game of finding the mathematical slope that makes this penalty score as close to zero as humanly possible. And this brings us to a brilliant 1980s trick called backpropagation. This was the massive mathematical breakthrough that saved the entire industry. It uses a calculus principle called the chain rule. In step 1, the forward pass, the AI makes a guess and computes that loss we just talked about. In step 2, the backward pass, it works backward through the network, layer by layer, calculating the exact gradient or slope to adjust every single weight. Because it uses the chain rule, it brilliantly reuses intermediate mathematical results. This is a huge deal because it made training massive, multi-layer networks computationally feasible without having to recalculate absolutely everything from scratch every single time. Section 3. The deep learning explosion, spanning the 2000s up to 2012. So with calculus providing the feedback loop, the math was finally solid, but the hardware still had to catch up for the real explosion to happen. The major turning point finally arrived in 2012. By this time, we had the internet providing massive datasets, and ironically enough, we kind of have video game nerds to thank for the hardware. It turns out that powerful GPUs originally built for rendering really intense video game graphics turned out to be absolutely perfect for doing rapid linear algebra. In 2012, a deep neural network called AlexNet entered an image recognition competition and absolutely shattered the records. I mean, it blew away everything that came before it. This was the exact moment the world collectively realized that with enough data and computing power, these mathematical models were incredibly powerful. Section 4. The modern era, 2017 to present. That massive explosion of computing power naturally leads us right to the generative AI tools that are reshaping our world today. The true architectural breakthrough that made modern large language models possible arrived in 2017. They're called transformers. Transformers completely moved away from reading text one word at a time. Instead, they process entire sequences of data in parallel. They use a really clever mathematical mechanism called self-attention, which calculates exactly how much focus or attention each word in a sentence should give to every other word. By calculating this long-range context so efficiently using matrix multiplication, models could suddenly write complex essays, translate languages fluently, and even generate computer code. It was a total game changer. But as these models stepped out of the lab and entered the real world, they encountered a big problem. The real world is incredibly messy and uncertain. Enter the third mathematical pillar of AI, probability and statistics. Linear algebra processes the data. Calculus optimizes it, but probability allows the AI to make confident decisions even when it isn't 100% sure. Through principles like Bayes' theorem, an AI can constantly update its beliefs based on new evidence. When a modern AI identifies a picture of a cat, it's not actually saying, this is definitely a cat. It's giving you a statistical probability, basically saying, I am 85% confident this is a cat. It relies on expectation and variance to manage risk and uncertainty through math. Section 5. Navigating uncertainty and ethics. Because AI is now deeply integrated into our daily lives, making statistical decisions about our bank loans, healthcare, and security, we really have to look closely at the modern historical challenges of these systems. One of the most pressing data challenges we face today is bias. Remember, these models learn their math strictly from historical data. If that data has flaws, the math just hardcodes those flaws in three main ways. First, selection bias, which occurs when a dataset doesn't represent all groups equally. Second, label bias, which happens when the human-provided training labels are subjective or just flat-out incorrect. And third, historical bias. This means that if a dataset reflects historical inequalities, like say a hiring algorithm trained on decades of skewed corporate data, the model will simply perpetuate those past patterns, treating them as unshakable mathematical truths. And beyond the data itself, there are other profound limitations that we need to approach with a lot of caution. These massive data sets create real privacy risks and potential data leakage. Also, these complex neural networks essentially operate as black boxes, meaning even the developers themselves struggle to interpret exactly why a model made a specific mathematical decision. Furthermore, they can be incredibly brittle. A tiny, practically invisible mathematical alteration to an image of a stop sign can completely trick a self-driving car into thinking it's a speed limit sign. Scary, right? And finally, running all this math requires massive data centers, leading to immense environmental energy consumption. The math is undeniably powerful, but it absolutely demands careful dataset curation and continuous research into explainable systems. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've traced the incredible history of artificial intelligence, from Turing's early theories to Rosenblatt's perceptron, through the chilling AI winter, right up to the triumphs of calculus and modern transformers. We've seen that at every single step, AI isn't magic. It is just linear algebra, calculus, and probability working together. But here's the catch. If the machine is merely calculating weights and gradients based on the data it's fed, who is ultimately responsible for the bias, the errors, and the real-world impact of the equation? I'll leave you to ponder the human responsibility behind the mathematical principles these systems are built upon. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.